Thank you very much, Homer. So we just had BioShock right there, and that was, an anticipated E3 game. But there's also this whole new system coming out in a couple months called the PlayStation 3. And I'm proud to welcome to the set Mike Gallup, producer from SEGA, bringing the very first PlayStation 3 game Gamespot has ever had the privilege to broadcast live, Full Auto 2 Battle Lines. Welcome, Mike. How's it going?
Hi, how are you? Good to be here.
I'm good. And you brought the PlayStation 3.
We actually have real test kits here with us.
And people are playing them right over there.
And they're right around the corner. Playing multiplayer.
Multiplayer. That's what Full Auto 2 is all about, the multiplayer.
That is one of our huge features this time is the arena, and then the online multiplayer aspect of it. For the arena modes, we have some very specific game modes that are just for that. So we have Gladiator and Team Gladiator, which is kind of a death match. And then Base Assault, which is Deathmatch Plus. So you have a deathmatch arena, but then you have these bases that you have to then attack, drop a bomb in the base of the enemy, and defend your own base.
Cool. Well, let's jump into it and blow up some cars, shall we?
All right, so Morgan doesn't want to be on camera, but he's going to watch us. He's going to play.
Okay, we'll see his work.
He's going to show us some deathmatch arena. This is Skunk Works. This is our outskirts arena. This is kind of an old military base, a little bit of a, abandoned field. There's lots of debris and old military things hanging around. So he's driving around in one of our, the Enforcer, which is a cop car. I believe he's got a ram plate on the front and a twin cannon as his gun, which is a great combination for us.
There he's showing it off right there. That's dangerous to drive around with that camera view.
He's being pretty risky there. He actually just rammed into somebody. One of the things we want to do in Full Auto 2 is have a much more impact when you have collisions. So if you're driving around and you want to run into somebody, you can do a ton of damage to someone that way, and then we have a weapon that'll support that, which is the ram plate.
Cool. Well, tell us about the cars and tell us about the different ways you can customize them.
So we've added several new cars into the mix this time. So it's a little bit of a combination of speed, some power. We also have weapons that you can customize where you place them. So you can have, if you want to have 2 front-mounted weapons, you can do that. If you want to have 2 rear-mounted weapons, you can do that as well. And then some of the new combinations, like the ram plate as your front-mounted weapon.
Is that the one that's just like the big plow?
It's a big piece of steel strapped on the front of your car. So you throw that on there. You put a good front-mounted weapon that shoots some heavy caliber rounds. You got a pretty destructive car if you know how to use it. So good fun. That's one of my favorite ways to play.
So you're talking about? Can you get a little more specific about the kinds of weapons? Big machine guns,
sure.
rocket launchers.
The ram plate's a new weapon. The 20mm cannon is a new weapon, and that one actually has a lot of knock force on it. So when you shoot it, it'll cause a radius damage, but it can spin cars out. It'll throw them into walls, stuff like that. There's a twin cannon, which is basically a heavy caliber machine gun. A slower rate of fire than the regular machine gun, but does more damage and has a longer range. We have the flamethrower, which is a brand new rear-mounted weapon. It's our only heavy rear weapon. Again, once you get used to playing that, you can do a lot of damage if people are on your tail. It's a great way to get them to back off.
So one of the other cool aspects of the original Full Auto was the ability to rewind, bring it back, if you will.
Yeah.
How does that work into, if at all, into the multiplayer?
In multiplayer, actually, it's not.
You can't. You can't. Okay, good. But there's got to be some single-player stuff you can do with it.
One of the things we did this time was just kind of tune and balance the unrec a little bit. So we've tied it into an energy meter. So you have an energy meter that handles your boost and unrec. So there's kind of a balance between using the unrec versus using boost. If you're a player that likes to boost a lot, you might not have unrec when you need it at that key moment. So it's a little bit more of a balance, a little bit more strategy in using both of those features.
This does not look like a deathmatch.
This is a race. This is in one of our financial arenas, or our financial tracks. So as you can see, one of the fun things to do when you're racing is to cut through corners, because you can drive right through glass buildings. He's actually driving through a Destruction Matters moment now, which we have these big moments in the game where you can knock down buildings.
Right.
You can bring them down on top of other cars, or you can, to reveal a power-up maybe, or it'll just change the track or the arena that you're in. You won't be able to go in that direction anymore. You'll have to find a new way around. So that's kind of the big theme of Destruction Matters, is that it changes the arena or it changes the environment and gives you something cool when you do it.
So I'm guessing since you're putting these cars through hell and back, literally.
Yes.
A lot of companies probably would not be happy with seeing their cars decimated. So licensed vehicles at all, or no?
It really wasn't even a consideration. Because, you know, they have a hard enough time getting licensed cars for racing games.
Right.
We want to blow them up. We want to crash them. Maybe if we, you know, showed what the safety features of a car were, maybe they'd let us
big
do it.
airbags all the time. No.
Not something we even thought about. We wanted to be able to wreck the cars and tear them apart and just do tons of
There's
damage.
a little bit of unwreck right there for you. Tell us a little bit about working with the PlayStation 3. Full Auto was one of the first games out for the Xbox 360. Full Auto 2 will be one of the first games out for the PlayStation 3. Any parallels or contrasts for in the development process?
Well, the thing I've been saying, you know, the 360 is a complicated machine. The PS3 is, you know, a very complex piece of hardware. So, you know, just from a development perspective, bringing a game to the PlayStation 3, you know, you have all the same challenges that you have when you're making just a normal game, but then doing a launch title on top of it adds a little bit more pressure, adds a little bit more uncertainty, unknown, because you're developing it while they're making the hardware. So it's kind of a moving target in terms of what the hardware is. But I think just great credit to the guys at Pseudo Interactive for really, you know, bearing down and figuring out the PS3 and delivering a great game. I mean, we're really happy with where we're at right now.
What have you been doing with all the extra space on the BD, the Blu-ray?
Well, since you know, we do use a lot of it for just content. We have more tracks in this game. We have more cars, cool. Newer weapons and things like that. Since we don't have we don't have a lot of FMV or anything, we're not filling up the space, but we were able to make use of it just with our extra cars and tracks.
We don't expect to be able to fill up all the space. We're not really sure what you're supposed to do with all of that.
Yeah, well, there's a lot there.
Well, you feel like taking some questions from the viewers at home?
All right.
You ready for that?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Do you have any from Sweden?
What's that?
Do you have any from Sweden?
From Sweden, we have been getting a lot of stuff from Sweden. Let's see what I can get here. How about Australia?
All right.
Does Australia count?
Sure.
Anthony in Melbourne wants to know, do you get to use your own car in online play? Is there something you get to build offline, or?
Well, as you go through career mode, you'll be able to unlock specific cars and skins and extra weapons. So you might be able to get a skin if you went through a certain objective and got a special skin. You'll be able to use that in your online mode. So anything you unlock in career mode, you'll get in online.
We just got to see the plow right there for a second. That looked pretty, it'll be coming. It looks pretty fierce. Let's see. Our next question comes from. Let's go with this question from Jason in Langley, British Columbia. Are there any other features in the game that weren't seen in the Xbox 360 game Full Auto?
Well, of course, the arena is one of the biggest things. And if you just saw that gameplay, you picked up a wrench, which is one of the power-ups. That's something new to Full Auto 2. We added power-ups in the arenas and in the races. So it'll help you kind of find where secret paths are, and just give you a little bit more strategy when you're driving around, finding shortcuts and things like that. That's pretty much where we're hiding some of those power-ups. So we have a wrench that heals you. There's another power-up that's unlimited fire, so your weapons won't overheat. So you get unlimited fire for a time, unlimited boost, which does the same thing, gives you unlimited boost for a while. And then in deathmatch and the arena modes, we have mortar weapon pickups. So they're basically super weapons that get strapped onto the back of your car for a limited amount of time. You get 3 or 4 shots with them depending on which weapon it is, and they do a ton of damage, and they're great in the arena mode. So you can literally, I got 5 kills with 1 shot.
In 1 shot?
1 shot.
That's pretty good. That's like almost all of the 7 people you're going against.
It was a beautiful moment.
Now, did you guys do the proper research when you're working on the arenas? You go check some demolition derby, some figure 8 racing, or?
I'm pretty much an expert on crashing cars, so.
That sounds like a story for another day. I'm going to give you a little harder question here.
All right.
This is from Gavin in London. He wants you to compare the graphics of Full Auto on the Xbox 360 with Full Auto 2 in the PlayStation 3.
That's hard?
Okay.
All right, so one of the things we want to do is make sure all the districts in Full Auto 2 had a distinct feel. So as you go through the financial district or the entertainment district, it has a unique art style. There'll be, the financial district is glass and has steel. It has a blue tone to it. If you go to the outskirts, for example, that's there's rocks, and it has more of a dusty, brownish, red feel to it. So we wanted to make that distinction. On top, that's more of just a art style choice. From the standpoint of just making stuff look better, we have some awesome new effects in this game. All of the effects from top to bottom have been redone, so all the smoke, fire, everything like that is completely new for Full Auto 2.
How much of that do you think is just getting another year to work on a Full Auto game, and how much of it is the PlayStation 3?
I would say that there's a little bit of it that is that extra time, but we are using some custom effects for the PlayStation 3. So we are tapping into some of that PlayStation 3 power just for those effects.
It's an exciting era upon us all. So the game is Full Auto 2 Battle Lines.
Yep.
People can play it here.
They can play it here.
Eight people.
We can set up to 8 people multiplayer. We're letting people play the single player campaign as well.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, Mike, thank you for coming by.